Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. It's here! The Boox Nova 3 color has arrived, and I just want to thank the guys from Boox for sending me a review unit to test out and do a test run on it so early, because at the time of recording this and when I received it was March 10th and it was released on March 8th or March 7th, so super quick stuff, and I'm very excited to actually check it out. So let's do the unboxing, see what the first impressions are like so that I can start testing it in the coming weeks and then bring you an in-depth review as soon as I can. But for now, unboxing first, and let's see how that goes. Alright, so here it is, fresh off the press. I literally just received this. Already they are playing with some funky stuff. The box is familiar Boox kind of a design, very minimalistic on the sides and stuff, but on the front we already have the indication of what is the new thing, and we have color reflections going here, same type of logo as before, like a tablet, unlike any tablet. All right, definitely they're going into a more commercial type of approach and trying to make these devices more trendy, shall we say. However, that's all nice and dandy, but now let's unbox this and see what the first impressions are like and what kind of a device the Nova 3 color is. Okay, so that is a screen protector, which is not pre-applied. I thought that they started pre-applying depending on, I guess, where you order it from, but on this sample that I got, it's not pre-applied, so that hasn't changed yet. And here we have the Nova 3 color. Can't wait to open that up. Let's see what do we get else. We get the new pen that's going with, I guess, all the devices. Nice soft top, triangular shape, and an eraser on the back. It's definitely thicker and bigger, and generally it feels like a better quality pen than the original small one, so that's actually nice to see. And we get a decent length USB-C cable that seems to be okay, not too long, not too short, kinda okay-ish. And we get the warranty card and the Boox Nova 3 series quick start guide, which is pretty much identical as the one that you get for the Nova 3, because basically they're the same device, just a different screen. And the contents of the box are fairly standard, something that we get for pretty much all of the Boox devices so far. You get a device, you get the pen, and we get the USB-C cable, screen protector, not pre-applied. I hope they start to change that, because that's a really important thing, I think, to kind of have. And we have some documentation. So fairly standard, nothing new here. Let's now focus on the device and see what do we get. All right, let's slide the device out. Okay. And right off the bat, we have the demonstration of colors here. So this is the Nova 3 color. Obviously, we have color. So this is something that's definitely different. And while I still do see the inherent problem with the Kaleido screen, which is the darkness of the white, so to speak, on the first impression it seems to be quite a lot improved and different. And even as I can see it now, the clarity of the colors seems to be a lot improved when I compare it to the Poke 2 color that I have, which uses Kaleido 1. And I also have to say that I do like the logo Solidarity. We are all Earth citizens, or basically Earthlings. Yes, I think that's quite an important thing to no, I don't see how it's relevant to the product, but I do agree that that's a very important message to spread. The device itself, before I power it on and check out the actual screen, for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much the identical design and identical device, identical case. Everything seems to be exactly the same as the standard Nova 3, which makes sense because Nova 3 came out like 4 months ago now, so that's incredibly recent. So it is the exact same product, everything is the same inside, except that it's using a color screen, which is the new e-ink Kaleido 2 7.8 inches e-ink screen. And just for a short little kind of comparison, I'm just gonna kind of focus on the colors here between the old screen, which is the Poke 2 color here, and the new one, which you have here. So immediately on the color ranges, you can see that the vividness of colors and basically the thickness and the density of the color is much better and much more improved on these. Plus it's far more clear. So, and that's without even powering it up and actually seeing these things, because one of the points of an e-ink device is to be able to use it without a front light. Of course the front light is helpful and everything like that, but you want to be able to use it like this, and this seems like it indeed has been improved quite a bit. Before I power it up, just to summarize, for those who don't know, the layout of the device is flat on top, no bezel, nothing like that. Nice little kind of dark greenish, metalish kind of color on the bottom with a single button, which is a back button or can be programmed to be used as a home button. On the back, we have nothing. We just have the perforations for the speaker. Nothing on the left or the right side of the device. On the top we have the power button with the LED indication, and on the bottom we have the USB-C and the microphone. Clean design, pretty much standard, hasn't changed much, hasn't changed at all. I hope that soon it starts changing, because, you know, this kind of a tablet shape has been around for quite a long time, and it would be nice to actually see some changes. For example, the changes that they've introduced for Note Air. That's a design that I really like, and it would be kind of interesting to see if they would go ahead and make maybe Note Air Color or Nova Air as well, because that would be quite handy. All right, enough chit-chatting. Let's power it up and see what does it do. Well, immediately I can see that the ghosting has definitely been improved quite a bit when compared to the original Kaleido screen. So already it's starting to look a little bit better. Well, this is interesting. All of the icons are in a certain kind of greenish color. However, let's test out and see what does it look like without the front light. Oh, it's a single color front light, okay? So first things first that I want to kind of compare is the brightness of the screen when powered off compared to the old Kaleido. So let's see here. Well, it looks a little bit brighter, not a huge amount, but a little bit brighter than the original one. However, what is definitely different is basically the clarity of the colors here when it's turned off. So that's something that I do like. This is definitely helped by the use of the front light. However, like Poke 2 Color, it only has a single front light. Now granted, it really does brighten up stuff quite a bit. I want to also see how does it work in different modes. We have speed mode, we have A2 mode. Gone is the X mode from this one here, so that's okay. Let's see the ghosting in A2 mode. Yeah, it's very prevalent, so that's definitely something that's staying quite a lot. So it's not a lot worse than the normal display, but definitely there's more ghosting in A2 mode than on a regular screen. In the in-depth review, I'm going to be doing all of the testing and everything's going to be set up right now. This is the first startup of the device. All right, so I'm just kind of scrolling around in the Neo browser, and it looks like he is automatically optimized to use the A2 update, which is actually pretty cool. So there's definitely ghosting, but this is far more usable, like a completely different story than the initial stuff that we had on the Poke 2 Color. And if you combine with the ability to screen refresh and have a shortcut as a gesture manager to screen refresh, then really there's no problems whatsoever that I can actually see here. It's actually quite a big of a difference than what we had before. So far the first impressions are really good. Now let's see how does this actually kind of work in reality. So let's say that this is refreshed. Yeah, well, not something that I'm gonna be impressed with as far as full color images goes and stuff like that, but for basic reading and all this kind of stuff, I think it just makes sense, and it's definitely an improvement over what we had before. However, we've already had color e-readers. The true power of the Nova 3 Color is that it's also a note-taking device, but this time in color. And before I check that out, I also want to point out that Nova 3 Color is running an OS version 3.1, where we already have a couple of new things, such as enabling the gesture on the side for the intensity of the front light, and on the other side would be the intensity of the volume if you're interested in that kind of thing. Now it's a little buggy, the slider is not working properly and all, it's not updating the slider, it's just kind of weird, but yeah, it kind of works, the functionality is definitely there. So now to wrap up this kind of startup and the first impressions test, I'm really interested to see how does the writing feel, what's the latency like of the new screen, and what does it actually look like to write on a color e-ink screen for the very first time for me. And again, we have quite a few new options that the version 3.1 is introducing. So this is stuff that I'm definitely going to have to look into, but I believe that now we also have an option of a landscape notebook as well, because that's definitely something they showed. And we also have all of these kind of things set as default template. Excellent. Apply to all pages. Excellent. Scaling proportion, auto splice. Okay, I'll be reading up what these are. So now let's choose. Yes, we have portrait and landscape. So definitely the Boox platform is getting a landscape notebook functionality, which is really, really welcome. So let's get horizontal lines. Well, there seems to be a bit of a bug here. All right, well, I'll choose and see what the problem is there a bit later. But going out in style now. So we no longer have just RGB colors. We have a huge array of colors, which is very, very nice to see indeed. So let's choose, for example, a burgundy color, and let's start writing. Alright, so since this is, I guess, the earliest possible version of the software, definitely the notebook has some kind of bugs here and there. What did I experience? Well, the template didn't show, so that was one of the things, and then it kind of was frozen with the rendering notes, but all I needed to do was basically go into the multi-app thing, close the notes, and now it opens up normally, and it seems to be working fine. So yeah, I mean, it's the 0 version of the new OS. I'm not really concerned about this because, again, this is a review unit. It's probably running on earlier software than what the production units are gonna get, so that's actually fine. But the writing actually, and now writing in pale green, rich green. This is really, really cool. Especially because now I'm using a standard type of a thin pen and I'm writing as I normally would. So I'm not doing it any kind of, I'm not treating it any differently than I would a normal device. And I think that this really, really works. Now let's see, how does it work with half front light? Well, definitely it's dark. I mean, definitely darker than a regular e-ink screen, but that's unavoidable with the Kaleido technology. No matter how it improves, it definitely requires some kind of a front light. However, it's visible. So it's a little bit better than what we had before. And the colors, when we turn off the front light completely, we can still make out colors. Is it perfect? Well, not perfect, but definitely much better than Kaleido 1. So this is without front light at all. All right, so that definitely works, and you need to use a bit of front light, a fair amount of front light to make the best out of the screen. However, it does work. The technology is getting there, and it's something that I think is much, much improved when compared to the old Kaleido 1 powered devices. All right, I gotta say that after restarting the app, the note-taking app, I haven't been experiencing these problems that I first encountered, and the responsiveness seems to be really good. We still have very nice type of kind of responsiveness of the screen itself and of the device itself. And I gotta say that having these different colors, it does make a change. It really is different how you're gonna use this device, and I think it's an incredibly smart thing that they've added this many color shades immediately, because you get to kind of enjoy what this device has to offer and what the technology has to offer indeed. And here is the entire palette that is currently included in the Nova 3 color notebook taking range. So these are all of the colors that you can draw with, write with, you mark up your documents, take your notes, or do whatever you want. You know what? It actually works. It looks great. For me, it definitely works great if the front light is used. So that's one thing that's important. However, even when you lower the front light, let's say to half, all of the colors are still definitely there. They are, yes, the screen whiteness is not white by any means, but that is a limitation of the technology, and I don't think that it's ever going to be possible to kind of avoid it entirely, because just of the way how Kaleido is. However, this is the example without the front light on at all, and the colors are very crisp, clean. Yes, the color PPI is supposed to be 100 PPI, but you know what? It's not something that you notice that much, especially not when writing. This is the close-up of the colors with the front light at around 50%. And this is with the front light at 100%. So basically what this front light is doing is, as far as I can see, it's simply brightening up the background of the canvas here. And it does make sense that it's just a blue-ish kind of light. I'm not sure that I like it entirely. I would like to still have the ability to control the color of the light, but it does make sense if you take into consideration that the natural color of the screen, of the whiteness of the screen, is this kind of yellowish one. Then basically what you're doing is you're kind of mixing between these two. Not really, but you know, it's the way that you can look at it. So for me, the front light is basically the control to brightening up the whites of the device itself. There, I managed to find the example of the 100 ppi on the color resolution, so you do have that limitation, which is exactly how the Kaleido screen works. So that's something that we can't really avoid, but to be honest, it's a little bit hard pressed to kind of find that. On the black one and basically the grayscale, you don't have that limitation, so you still have 300 ppi on the grayscale ones. On the color ones you do have 100 ppi, and that's something that I'm going to be testing out and basically seeing how does it translate in real life. Is this something that's important or not? Alright, so here is the Nova 3 color, and as you can see, it's in color. So it's using the new Kaleido screen, and the first impressions are that the improvements from the first generation of Kaleido screen are definitely there. Now, how far they extend and how it actually turns out in real world use, I don't know, but the first impressions are that this is for me at least, the very first time that I've seen a color e-ink note-taking device that seems to be real-world usable. Apart from that, Nova Tricolor is also introducing the OS 3.1, which is hinting at some really welcome features, such as added gestures on the side for front light intensity and also the landscape note-taking format. It stands to reason that that will also come to our other devices. Now, what also stands to reason is that E-Ink has refreshed their Kaleido kind of range, and it's including the 7.8-inch screen, which is used in Nova 3, but they've also released the 10.3-inch Kaleido 2 screen, which means that maybe, just maybe, in 2021, we might be looking at Note Tricolor and Note Air Color. I don't know, we'll see. But what I do know is that we do have Nova Tricolor, and the first impressions are quite good. Huge improvement over the Kaleido 1. Definitely seems usable, not just like a experimental type of tech. And it's something that I'm very much looking forward to testing and bringing you the in-depth review of it so that you can see what's it like. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe and consider dinging the notification bell to get notified when new videos on My Deep Guide come out. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!